on the agenda. First is House Bill 1074. This deals with the Electronic Government Oversight Committee. It actually deals with more than that. What the House passed was bringing code sections forward on this. Currently, if you'll note, looking at starting on lines 34, the current members of that committee are Executive Director of ITS, Auditor, Treasurer, Secretary of State, DFA, DPS, and DOR. This would add Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks and Archives and History. Those two do a lot of transactional fee work in their agencies. So this just adds those two entities onto this committee. It does not do anything else, and it makes no other changes as it relates to electronic government oversight. I will yield for questions if there are any. Seeing none, the motion is title sufficient, do pass, strike all. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next is a technical change related to EEF. Last year, if you'll recall, when we created the funding formula, we eliminated, since we put so much money into the student funding formula, we eliminated the education, the revolving loan fund, and we inadvertently took out some other language that needed to be there. So we need to put back in some language that allows for the funds to be paid back on those revolving loan funds to be sent to DFA. So that's all it does. It's just cleaning up some language from the change we made last year when we probably used too broad of a brush in reversing that EEF revolving loan fund. I'll yield for questions if there are any. Seeing none, the motion is title sufficient, do pass, strike all. Thank you. Senator Barr, do you need a moment to answer the phone call? Did I get all in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. Moving on to House Bill 302. This is a bill that has some language which would incentivize the high demand, or not high demand, but incentivize high value industry certifications within the community college system. The proposal here is to have several people look at this. And let me find the bill. To look at this to see if you could offer, just what they want to do is offer $600 essentially scholarships for students that enroll in these high demand areas. And pardon me while I look for the bill. Thank you. You'll see the bill, House Bill 302, the proposed committee sub, and in the House bill, they also included for business and industry stakeholders be involved in that board, in that group that would look at this. I didn't think that was a good idea because I'm afraid that the ones that would be involved in it would direct people to the areas where they're involved. And I think it'd be better just for our Office of Workforce Development, the Community College Board, MSU Research and Curriculum Unit to be the ones that would identify if there were shortages in any particular areas and if they could incentivize students to get certifications in those areas. So that was removed. And the other part that was removed from the House bill was the last sentence that said any cost accrued during any fiscal year may be claimed and reimbursed in the following fiscal year. So it's removing those two sections or those two portions of the bill and also adding a reverse repeater is what we did in the proposed strike all. I'll yield for questions. Seeing none, the motion is title sufficient, do pass, strike all. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. I'm going to skip for right now the next bill, which is House Bill 1414, move to House Bill 624, and I'll recognize Senator Wiggins to explain.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the criminal investigators salary. This is the House bill. And if you look over at line 27, that is where that raises it to $75,000 for DA criminal investigators And we have a Senate bill, so as we move forward, we'll end up deciding which will take precedence, House or Senate. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there questions?
Move title sufficient do pass, Mr. Chairman.
Motion of title sufficient do pass. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator Wiggins. I'll recognize you again to take up House Bill 1366.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the code section and amendments to the the judge's operating allowance. And we did pass a bill last year. We currently have a Senate bill. What you have before you is a proposed strike all. The House bill that actually came from Judd A, they had a lot of language in there regarding out of state attendance, also regarding where judges didn't have satisfactory office space and there was a subsidy to be allowed. And speaking with Chairman Hobson, what you have before you is what is where this committee is good to go. And you look at lines 20 to 23, that the out-of-state travel can be used for attendance at the Mississippi Bar Convention if no other funds are available. Mr. Chairman, if we do pass this, it will need to go back to Judiciary A, which we are meeting after this meeting. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there questions? Senator Wiggins.
Title sufficient do pass. Strike all, Mr. Chairman.
Motion is title sufficient do pass, strike all. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator Wiggins. And then I'm going to ask you to next take up House Bill 1459. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay. On 1459, a little bit of background. This is the CCID that we've set up. This is placing into statute the CCID judges and both full-time and part-time into statute. So this has been being done. This essentially places it, not essentially, it does place it into code what is currently in operation right now. And we did take out in the Judiciary A committee, we took out the I think if council can help me, we actually had it where we put back into the bill language that this has to be reviewed in 3 years by 2027. The House had actually removed that. And so we placed that back into Judiciary, by the Judiciary Committee. Is that correct? Okay, thank you. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there questions? Seeing none, Senator, your motion.
Title sufficient do pass, Mr. Chairman.
Title sufficient do pass, strike all. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator Wiggins. We're going to skip down to House Bill 807. This is a bill from Representative Felsher that deals with establishing a Department of Autism or Division of Autism Services within the Department of Mental Health. It simply adds for specific programs and coordination and long-term plans on autism treatment, and it adds 2 employees, one of which is a program specialist, and the other one is one's a level 1 program specialist, the other is a level 3 program specialist. The total amount of additional funding for this would be roughly $165,000 to create the division and for these 2 new employees. I'll yield for questions if there are any. Seeing none, the motion is title sufficient do pass. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Skip down to House Bill 1402. This is something that we passed, or at least the strike all that I've got before you is something that we passed in the Senate. This will need to go back to Public Health. I know they have a meeting this afternoon, and it's technical language, but I think we passed this on the floor. And the language that came from the House was not quite as tight as what we had on the floor. So this tightens up that language to say that as it pertains to those eligible expenses for public health programs that pertain to maternal, infant, and child health, and for the completion of other vital records and statistics. And that's the technical change that's made on this. Any questions? That, yes, Corbin's reminded me, that is an amendment since that's not in the bill before you right now. Any questions on the amendment to the bill that's before you that you got in your packet? And Senator Polk, you make that motion for the amendment? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Now, the motion would be title sufficient, do pass, strike all. Senator Polk, any questions on the motion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And then next is House Bill 1567. I'll recognize Senator Michelle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is our Rural Fire Truck Fund, and we're bringing forward all the code sections necessary to make an appropriation into this fund. We're trying to keep this legislation alive so that we can appropriate money to the fund. I'll be glad to yield any questions.
Any questions about this proposal? I know Senator Parker, Senator Michelle, Representative DeWeese, myself, and others have been working on trying to help out on the rural fire truck program, see what we can do to make it work more efficiently. Seeing no questions, Senator, your motion.
Yes, sir. Motion is title sufficient, do pass, House Bill 1567.
Motion is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Moving to House Bill 1491, I'll recognize Senator Delano to explain.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a center or a cloud center of excellence that will provide leadership, expertise, and standardized practices for guide agencies in adopting public cloud and technologies. It's a 5-year phase-in program, and it's to help modernize how agencies store data and utilize on-premise and off-premise technologies. And that's an explanation of the bill. I yield for any questions.
Are there questions for Senator Delano? Seeing none, Senator.
Be title sufficient, do pass.
Motion is title sufficient, do pass. Strike all.
Strike
All
all.
in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. And then moving to House Bill 1630, and I'll recognize Senator DeBar to explain.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a strike all that does three things.
This is in, by the way, Senator DeBar, let me interrupt. This is the extra handout that you should have in front of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So it does three things. 1630 has inserted in it three bills that we've already passed off the floor already. The first thing is it adds 7th and 8th grade to the CTE accountability under the student funding formula, so they will be included. It includes Senator Parker's retired teacher legislation, which added administrators and done a few other things that we passed off the floor and sent to the House. And lastly, the third thing it does, it allows for school boards to provide health insurance to themselves and the family, which has to be paid out of local funds. So no state funds included. So that's an explanation, Mr. Chairman. I'll yield for questions.
Are there questions for Senator DeBar? Seeing none.
Title sufficient, do pass, strike all.
Motion is title sufficient, do pass, strike all. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator DeBar. Let's move back up to House Bill 848, and this is the opioid settlement fund. What you have before you should be the strike all that would include the language that was passed, that we passed in the Senate. And I believe this is exactly the same as the Senate bill. Council, is that correct? I need to double check that. I think it is.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Wiggins, I'll take your word for it. This is what we passed in the Senate on the opioid settlement fund. And if you remember, this included the language specifically that we had that all projects that were going to be vetted, the committee that would be involved, including the AG's office, go through a vetting process. No particular program or potential use of funds would be excluded from the list so that you'll have a chance to look at all the different groups that have qualified, been vetted, and it'll all come back to us. They may list a priority or have a priority list of who they might recommend the committee, but everything will be up there for your consideration and debate when it comes back to us. I'll yield for questions if there are any. Seeing none, Senator Polk. Motion's title sufficient, do pass. Strike all. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Then let's see, did I? Is that the only one left, 1414? Yeah, let's go to House Bill 1509, and I'll recognize Senator Wiggins to explain.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the House's District Attorney Assistance Pay Raise Bill. First of all, it has a reverse repealer. The language is one that they amended is 126 to 128, where it states is 1,000 less than the salary is now from the judges. This actually is a more, I guess that's more cost to the state. The Senate bill is less cost to the state. Thus, we have both bills. We'll either go to conference or work on those to address it. So
And this does have a reverse
it does
repealer in it?
have a reverse repealer in it.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Wiggins. Are there questions? Yes, Senator Polk, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Wiggins, this, I'm assuming will be an increase in pay. It won't be a decrease for anyone.
That's correct, as is the Senate bill that we passed.
Okay.
It is a increase.
And when will we last increase these salaries?
For assistants, for district attorneys?
Yes.
I don't know. It had to be about 5 or 6 years ago. And let me say, what both the Senate bill and this bill are doing is tying this to the judges, which the last raises that were done were not that way. And so both the House and the Senate have, through the bills that we've advanced, are doing that, tying it to the judges.
So if we give judges raises, DAs get raises automatically.
That's how that would work, yes.
My other question would be, when was the last time that a member of the legislature got a raise? I can say that now. I can ask that now.
Go ahead and preach. Go ahead and preach. I'm hearing 1987. I'm hearing that was the case.
Okay, I don't know. I know that it hasn't been since I've been here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Senator Polk, are there other questions?
Title sufficient, do pass, Mr. Chairman.
Seeing none, the motion is title sufficient, do pass. Strike all. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Finally, we'll go back to House Bill 1414. I was looking for Senator Sparks because he handled this bill in committee, but I don't think he's here. What this does is this bill would move the WET training fund, workforce enhancement training funds to the control of the Office of Workforce Development, or to accelerate rather than to the community college board. So I think that's the change, trying to get, and Senator Parker, you may know more about that, but anyway, trying to get those funds over to Office of Workforce Development for administration. I do want to keep this measure alive, and this came through his committee, but I'll yield for questions. And certainly, if this bill's up on the floor, Senator Sparks could explain it if there are any detailed questions, but do want to keep this one alive. Seeing no questions, the motion is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And unless I missed something, I don't think I did. Quick work. The motion, Senator Williams, rise and report. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. That land maintenance fund bill? Yeah, it didn't come up. Okay, yeah. I did text him.